Welcome back. We are joined today by Professor Jeffrey Sachs to discuss the war being launched in Iran. We see that CNN reported that a deal was within reach, and then a few hours later, Israel and the US attacked Iran. And attacks are reported to have been carried out across Iran, and Iran is now retaliating in a very big way, hitting American military bases and targets across the region. We see attacks on Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait, United Arab Emirates, Jordan, Iraq, perhaps Saudi Arabia, and of course, striking several cities in Israel. I was wondering how you read the situation and what are the objectives of the United States, and how do you explain the, I guess, fierce response from the Iranians?
Well, the objective is stated. It's regime change. This has been an Israeli dream for 30 years. Israel has caused war across the Middle East using the U.S. and using its effective ownership of Washington, which Israel does own for a variety of reasons, in wars that stretch from Libya, Sudan, Somalia, Gaza, the West Bank, Lebanon, Syria, Iraq, Yemen, and Iran has always been the big prize. So this is part of a long-term plan of Israel. The plan is Israeli military hegemony in the region backed by the United States. The basic goal is Israeli dominance through its nuclear arms and the backing of the United States, the suppression of the Arab world, and effectively the expulsion of Russia and China from the region. So this is a geopolitical move. This is, of course, an attempt to overthrow Iran, but it's part of a larger picture. The United States is fighting to this moment for global hegemony, have no doubt about it. This is part of a world war that the U.S. is waging. And the war comes in Venezuela. The war is going to come to Cuba, or is already in Cuba. Yesterday, the president said that the U.S. Would make a friendly takeover of Cuba. The war is in the Middle East. Europe is already a vassal region of the United States. So this is the U.S. Attempting, even in what is actually a multipolar world, to maintain its global hegemony. Of course, when you operate with such extraordinary violence, recklessness, lies, and delusion, the results can be completely catastrophic. So we're in the first hours of something that will have chain reactions across the world. I don't believe this will go well. I think that this is extraordinarily dangerous. By the way, the United States is a non-constitutional regime ruled by a small gang, by Trump and the gang. There's no congressional authorization. There's no legal basis for any of this. Israel is itself near civil war. The Arab states are unpopular, let's put it that way. European governments are all unpopular with leaders that command 10 to 20% approval ratings. So this is a war with a tremendous amount of political instability in the warring nations. Things can crack anywhere. My point is, this is not for any of the reasons alleged that there was some imminent threat from Iran. Exactly the opposite, as the Omani mediator said repeatedly, including after the launch of the war. The negotiations were proceeding, making progress and proceeding in an orderly way. I speak frequently with the Iranians. They were not only ready to negotiate, they already negotiated 10 years ago, all of these arrangements. So this is nothing about imminent threat, provocations, or nuclear weapons, actually. This is just about hegemony and regime change. regional hegemony by Israel and global hegemony by the United States.
Yes, all these comments about Iran in threat, nuclear weapons, helping protesters, freedom. You probably saw Trump's war speech this morning.
Yes.
It's quite extraordinary, because it does say a lot about what Marco Rubio spoke recently about, the need to restore the dominance of the West. And I think you're spot on. There's a lot of uncertainty and insecurity at the moment with relative decline. But the
If I
negotiation.
could just say, if I might just add, there's an old movie, I'm sure a lot of people have seen it, The Wizard of Oz, famous movie, where at the end of the movie, the great wizard is exposed as the little dog pulls the curtain back and shows that it's just an old man speaking into a megaphone. The odd part about American propaganda these days is that the curtain was pulled back long ago. In fact, last month, our Treasury Secretary, who's a kind of a thug, explained that the aim of U.S. policy last year was to crush the Iranian economy and bring people out onto the streets. He explained it step by step. He said last March, Trump gave an order for maximal pressure. The idea was to bring down the currency. He said in December this worked. Banks failed. There was a dollar shortage. The currency collapsed. People were suffering. They came out on the streets. And he said things are going in a very good direction. So the curtain was pulled back. This isn't protests against a regime. This is an American regime change operation. The propaganda is so brazen, they don't care whether they are believed or not, really. They just care that they have a narrative. And this is the situation that we're in right now. There was no threat. There has been an attempt to bring the regime to its knees economically. The negotiations were phony, because both last year and this year, when the negotiations were making progress, the U.S. attacked. This is a premeditated aggression without any justification of the kind that the U.S. government gave. This is just it doesn't even have the moral veneer of being a covert regime change operation. Most of the time, the United States acts violently, repulsively, but it pretends that it's not the U.S. that's doing it. So most U.S. regime change operations are covert. Here, they don't care. The brazenness may be Trump's megalomania and personal psychological instability. It may be the need for the United States to feel that it has to reset dominance, but it's not hidden. And every explanation given is a transparent lie. The explanation is clear, that Israel is supposed to run the Middle East, dominate it, be greater Israel. Our own ambassador to the Middle East, Mike Huckabee, who represents the Christian Zionists in the United States, the roughly 20% of Americans who are fundamentalist evangelical Protestants, said it's all Israel's to take. God gave it to them. So this is another part of the story. Was he reprimanded for saying that? No, I'm sure there were cheers in the White House for that. No reprimands whatsoever. The Arab world is very sad in this. The Arab world has been essentially under imperial rule since 1517, since the Ottoman conquests of Arab lands. And so the Arabs were under Ottoman rule for centuries. Then they were under British rule. Now they're under U.S. and Israeli rule. They're pretty much supine. They don't dare speak. They have American military bases all over their territories. They're occupied lands, basically, and they're just go along with this. It's all very dangerous and very sad.